Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish on the Movies. And today I'm doing a very short video about my top 10 2018 movies. And truthfully, I didn't see that many movies in 2018.
You just saw 10, right?
Yeah, I think so. And so I guess it just worked out perfectly. So I'll get right to it. I don't have a lot to say about them because I it's hard to remember, but also some of them, though, in talking to Marco, I might just go and see again. I'd like to see again, watch again, because they were so creative. But anyway, my 10th, what do you want me to, yeah, the worst one was Puppet Master 9. I kind of doubt that many of you saw this movie. It was really the worst. It raised a lot of questions, and the thing is, we've seen a few Puppet Master movies, and
I've seen all of them.
well, I've only seen a few, but I liked them. They were interesting. We even have a couple. We even have a few of the puppets, and one of them may have been even used in one of the movies. It's like a prototype or something. I don't know, but um, I I think they were cool. But even though they kill, but I really liked them. But this one wasn't very good. I thought it raised a lot of questions, and I would give it a um, designated as called the bare minimum movie because it's like they did the bare minimum of what they could do to further the story or anything. And basically, what you learn is the puppets in Puppet Master are really Nazis who target Jews. So a lot of Jewish people, I guess, get killed in the movie. And this is not back in the olden days, this is today. So it was just not so good, which is a shame,
Do you,
really.
do you think it was a good idea to reboot? Because this was a reboot. This was, like Spider Man Homecoming was to Spider Man Tobey Maguire.
Well, if it would have been done better, maybe, but since it wasn't done very well, why bother?
Yeah.
It's a waste. Okay, well, the next one might surprise a lot of people, and that would be Infinity War.
Oh.
Well, you know, I thought some parts of it were okay, and the story with there's some kind of glove, and each part of the universe represents a stone, and you have to get them, you have to fill up the glove, and then you have to get this other stone, and his daughter had it, or I don't know. It was just I thought it was so complicated, and if Marvel hadn't made me see a bunch of comic book movies, Iron Man, Doctor
Guardians
Strange,
of the Galaxy
Guardians
1
of the
and 2.
yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. If I hadn't seen those movies, I would have been totally confused. And I mean, I really would have hated this movie. And I'm not saying that I hated it, but I don't think it was as great as everybody said it was.
It's not as good as it could have been.
Yeah, yeah, maybe it could have been better. I don't know how.
It's not really a superhero movie like it claims it is.
No.
It's like a villain movie, and then the villain himself doesn't really even have any character. So the movie is basically a cluster F.
Yeah, it's a shame, but it's too complicated, and there's too much going on. There's too many different pieces, and I don't know. I just think it could have been done better. I don't know how to make it better, and that's not my job actually. So next is Incredibles 2. I thought it was just disappointing, but I don't think it was the worst, and that's why I didn't put it as the worst. I liked the first Incredibles movie. I thought it was really clever. I liked the characters, and I liked the characters. They came back, and I thought they were still good, but I don't know. It just wasn't. It was just disappointing. It just wasn't as good as it could have been. Okay, well, the next one is, and I know a lot of you haven't seen this movie too, but Marco wanted to see this movie. It was a movie that I guess it was at this uh, uh, what would you call it?
Film
This film
festival.
festival that people walked out on, and I thought, oh boy, it was called The House That Jack Built.
She was while she was watching it, she was on the couch in pain from
Yeah,
getting in a car accident and being sore in her legs. And I was like, you know what the perfect cure for your ailment would be? Watching a movie about a serial killer. And then we watched it, and she enjoyed the whole thing, and it actually took her mind off of her her soreness.
I thought there was clever parts to it, and that's why I put it there. There's this one part where the serial killer kills somebody, an old lady, and uh, he stays at the house and he gets nervous all of a sudden, like starts panicking that he hasn't cleaned up the blood good enough. And I don't even remember that there was a lot of blood, but anyway, he kept he would go into the house and clean everything up, and then he'd leave, and he thought, I just didn't do it enough. And I think he did it like 10 times. He came to the house 10 times, and finally, that last time was like one too many, and the cops showed up, and I can't even remember why, but it just was funny. The only thing that really I didn't like was the fact that he killed some kids, and it was like a game to him. And I didn't care for that because we've had a lot of things in the news about kids either being mistreated or be abused or they've been
That has nothing
killed.
to do with this
And I
movie.
just don't want to see it in a movie. I don't want to see it in a movie, and I don't want to see it in the
You never
news.
and
Even though it's
guys
reality, it
and
happens. There are
and
serial killers that kill
guys,
children.
just so you know, she's not being honest here at all because when she watched the movie, it didn't bother her one bit. She never covered her eyes once, even when he's cutting off that girl's boobs and
Well,
making
they
a
didn't show it, and no, I did not watch it.
you never covered your eyes in the whole movie. You never complained or anything.
I was in such
And
terrible pain.
and since she
It was
can't
a distraction.
since she's having trouble remembering these movies because most of them are unmemorable to her, she's not remembering it. It didn't bother her at all.
Well, truthfully, I didn't like that. Okay. Okay, well, number 6 is Vice, and I think a lot of you have heard of that movie. It's really about the rise of Dick Cheney and the Bush administration, and how he was really I would call him a puppet master. But
He's the real puppet master.
yeah, he's the real deal puppet master, Dick Cheney, which even when this was happening, when he was vice president, we all recognized that, at least people who paid attention. Uh, but anyway, the reason why I put it in the middle, because it's very depressing to me because some of the things that happened kind of led up to now, what's going on now. But the thing that was really good about it was Christian Bale's performance. I just thought it was really good, and I wish he'd won an Oscar because I think he deserved it. I really, really liked his performance, and I also thought it was interesting. From the beginning to the end, there was this guy, and he was like the narrator, and it was a guy who was in Breaking Bad, and I can't think of his name in it, but he was a blonde, and he looked innocent and nice, but he really was evil. He just didn't. He was like he did these
And
things,
and what was he doing in this movie, Safi?
well, said he was going to be playing an important part in Cheney's life, and ended up. And I didn't even know this in real life. I'd never heard about it, but he had a heart. He was killed. He was he hit by a car or in a car wreck, and his heart was used. Cheney used his heart, like a heart transplant. So I didn't even know that. I thought that was interesting. But the way they did that, where he narrated, and then the guy actually shows up in the movie, and then you see what happens, and I thought that was very clever. And that's one reason when if I really like a movie, one of the reasons usually is it's clever and creative, and that's very important to me. Okay, moving on. Is number 5, and it's called Christmas Made to Order. Now, this is a Hallmark movie, and again, I don't think a lot of you have probably seen it, but it was one I'll probably watch again. I only could watch it once because we don't have the Hallmark channel, and what happens is when they air these movies, somebody will copy them and put them on YouTube, and you can usually watch them for a couple of days, and so I just happened to catch this, and it's just about this girl who she's a designer, like I don't know, like a Christmas designer. She can set up rooms and all kinds of places for Christmas. Make decorate, and she can do anything. She's really creative, and in fact, well, the girl who played the main part was in Spy Kids. Was the teenage girl in Spy Kids? And anyway, there's this guy, and his family is going to come to town, and he never really celebrates Christmas. He just talks to them on the phone, says, "Oh yeah, I did this and that," but he didn't really mean it. He just works all the time, and so his family comes to town, and he asks this girl to make a whole week of activities and help him decorate his apartment or his house and everything, so his family can have a good time. So anyway, it was just a really pleasant story, and I'll watch it again this Christmas because I kind of feel gypped. I could only watch it once, but
I won't.
I couldn't because it was on YouTube, and then they took it down. Okay, next one is number 4, and it's Ready Player One. And I thought this was a very clever movie, and uh, I could see this happening with the way people were living on top of each other, like oh, what's that game where they have different stacks, and then you have to pull a block out, and the next person pulls a block out, and finally, whoever the last person probably will pull one out, and the whole thing collapses. Well, anyway, that's what it reminded me of, the structures where the people lived. And I thought it was really clever, and Marco helped me remember exactly what it was about. But it's about a game that everybody plays, and has lots of riddles. And um, there's this one kid who is really good, and he figures out the whole thing. And it's just, I really liked it. In fact, I just, in talking to Marco about it today, I'd probably like to watch it again now, or any time, because it was very clever. I really liked it a lot. Okay, number 3, excuse me, is Black Panther. Now, I wasn't sure what this movie would be because um, when we saw the trailers, they played uh,
Dumb rap music.
this rap music, and I thought this is about a superhero in Africa, and they're playing rap music. Because I've lived in Africa, I lived in East Africa, and they had rap music back then. I never heard one rap music at all, not one piece. They're playing Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson the most, and then they would play some music from South Africa that was popular, and I don't know, I'd never heard of them.
Well,
It
it's a
was
little
good though.
stereotypical.
Well, and then they played this other music. It's called Lingala music, and it's from oh, geez, they've changed the name of the country so many times. Central African Republic or something. I can't think of, what it's called because they've changed it so many times. But anyway, um, but so we went to see it. I thought it was a pretty good story, and I'd never seen Michael Jordan before. I'd never seen him in anything. I thought he was interesting, and well, I'd never seen the star of Black Panther, that African American guy either. And anyway, I thought it was really good, and it was a good story. But the music, they actually the music was predominantly from Africa. A lot of drumming, and that's more representative of what Africa is, the drumming, because you can go to any part of Africa and there's some kind of special drums. It might be totally different from the west side of Africa, completely different from the north side of Africa. You've had an anthropologist who actually studied the drums. We even brought one home, and and we've been to places and listened to it. It's so good. But that was a lot of the it drove a lot of the music in the movie, and that was really good. And they did play some rap music, but it was placed where it should have been in its part where they talked about where Michael Jordan had been living or where he grew up.
So
and
basically, you like this movie because of the music.
No, I like the story, and I just thought the whole time I just thought that the people where I lived, there was one movie theater and it was horrible, and it was like this really filthy, dark place. People went to the bathroom outside of the theater, there's no they don't sell refreshments. They have these kids that sell sticks of gum. I mean, not packs, sticks.
What does that have to do with the movie?
Well, it made me think of people in there would really love to see this movie. I know.
Even though it's extremely insulting to them, it's like
I don't think it was. I don't think they'd
yeah.
see that way. But okay, moving along. Number two, and I had a hard time with this. Uh, Whether to put two as one or one as two. And the next one, number two, is Christmas Chronicles. And I thought Kurt Russell did an excellent job as Santa. I just thought it was a nice, pleasant story. Every Christmas, I'm always looking for a new, good Christmas movie to watch. Like when Elf came out, that was really good, and I watched that several times. And so every Christmas, I like to watch Miracle on 34th Street, and
to grandmother's house we go.
oh, I have a whole list of movies, and that'll be included in my list of movies that I can add to it. That's new or it's fresh because it's new from last year, and I really appreciated that, and I thought he did a great job. They got the perfect person in him to to be Santa Claus. And then I thought it was really cool how uh, um, his she's not his wife, but his partner in life shows up at the as Mrs. Santa in the end. I mean, she really is in real life his partner, and I thought that was cool. And my favorite movie, which ought to surprise Marco maybe, is Bad Times at the El Royale, which again I don't think a lot of people have seen, which is a real shame because it's an interesting little story. There is a lot of violence, which I don't like violence, but the way the characters were, there's no escaping it. And I thought there was a big surprise about one of the characters in the movie, that it was a good surprise, but it was bad because he gets killed. But
It's not revealed who that is.
I'm not. And anyway, another little surprise that's right off the bat when you get into the movie is the fact that Thor, the guy who plays Thor, was a main character, and he was bad. I mean, you see Thor, and he's good, and everybody likes him, and he's helpful, and he defeats bad guys, except in the last movie we just saw he had a drinking problem. But anyway, this guy was evil, and he was like a Charles Manson kind of person. And the music for this movie is really interesting. I grew up with a lot of the music, and it was fun to hear it in the way they placed it. I thought it was really good. And um, there are just a few characters in it, and it really centers around staying at this hotel. And Jeff Bridges has a big role in it, and he does an excellent job. And he should have, well, he did get recognized. What he got what an outstanding achievement award or something. I don't remember.
That was a lifetime achievement
Lifetime
award.
achievement award. But he really did a good job in this movie. This movie is really good, and then the girl who plays in what's that that movie that
You don't try. Don't try.
well, anyway, there's a few characters in it, like Thor, and there's this another character who you've seen in other roles that are completely different from this, and it was kind of a nice surprise to see that. And anyway, I just thought it was a good little movie. And again, I was sick and I was in pain.
Even though she was sick, I had to force her to watch it. She refused to watch it. And,
well, I was really happy that I did.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd probably watch it again.
Yeah.
That's another criteria for me is it's nice to have a surprise in it to keep you guessing. So, I mean, I don't think it's very fun for people to just figure out the whole movie or the whole TV show. I mean, it may be okay, and you may have a regular show that you watch, and you've watched for 5 seasons or whatever, and you can kind of guess what's going to happen. But for a movie, it's always nice to have a surprise. And then it's a good story, good characters, um, good music is helpful. And so that's what I base my criteria on when I get up to the top 5. And creative, very clever, maybe an idea they haven't done before, and clever, and so anyway, that's it. That's all I have to say. I don't know if anybody cares what I think or what I saw, but I really ought to check out at least the Bad Times at the El Royale, and if you like Hallmark movies, because they make too many, I think, and really you have to. You don't. Nobody has time to watch all those movies. I don't have time to watch all those movies, and it's nice that I actually found one that was really good. Basically, if I see one nowadays it's new, I'll watch it in for about 15 or 20 minutes. If it's no good, I'll stop because there's no point. Because a lot of them are kind of rehashed storylines from other movies. So, but that Christmas Made Order, it's very pleasant if you like Hallmark movies. That Ready Player One, if you haven't seen that, that's good. It really is. And you might check out that house that Jack built. But I would stay away from Puppet Master 9 and
It's not Puppet Master 9. It's Puppet Master The Littlest Reich.
oh, the Littlest Reich.
It's a remake, and it's all in the title. It's a weird,
for some reason, I
weird
have
movie.
Puppet Master 9. I don't know.
I don't know.
I have no idea why I did that.
She has trouble remembering.
And then the Christmas Chronicles, if you didn't see that, you could check it out now maybe. It's a Netflix movie. Maybe, I don't know if it's still on now or not. I would think it would be, but who knows with Netflix. But I would think it would come back at Christmas time at the minimum. So, and then anyway, that's it. And Marco will be doing his, and as you can guess, he saw a lot more movies than I did. So anyway, bye everybody.
Bye.